All right, 8th grade, for this activity, you're gonna need this worksheet, a paper towel, a flat top brush that looks like this, a glass of water, and also a paint palette that has both orange and brown in it. Okay, so that's going to be what you need for this. And this activity is honestly all about just blending colors together. So we're gonna create highlights and shadows on our pumpkin using those two colors. And we are using a flat brush for this because we are going to cover a larger space, and we're also going to paint in a rectangle. A flat is good for straight lines and angles, so we're going to be using that. I'm going to go ahead and do two different practices on how to fade orange to brown, just in case the first one doesn't go super smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my brush with my lighter color, which is my orange, and I am going to kind of glop this on my paper. The goal with the craftsmanship for this, or the neatness, is you just want to have not paint everywhere. Okay, try and get it somewhat inside the box. So I'm going to be very generous with this orange paint. Get this on here. All right, and I'm going about half of the way across. I'm working quickly because I don't want it to dry on me. And I'm going to start to fade the orange out about a little more than halfway, so somewhere in the ballpark of 3/4 of the way across. Okay, so I'm not going to dip it anymore. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to switch colors. So just a real quick refresher, I'm going to go ahead and use my water clip, rinse, rinse, rinse. And then I'm going to go ahead and blot my paintbrush on the paper towel like this. Okay, if I don't do that, I have all this paintbrush drool, all this excess water in my paintbrush, and I really don't need that in my paint. All right, so back to this. At this point in time, I'm going to pick up my brown, okay? And I'm going to come from the opposite side. Note how wet this is still. And I am going to add it on top of the orange. Note I've dipped it about twice at this point. I'm going to start to fade it out somewhere in here. Switch sides of my paintbrush. And I'm just going to let it run out of paint. Okay, I flipped my brush kind of halfway through there. There we go. Okay, so I have something that kind of looks like this. And at this point in time, this is starting to blend, but it hasn't really blended all the way yet. So I'm going to clean my brush. So I'm going to rinse it in my water cup. I'm going to go ahead and blot it on my paper towel. So I have a clean brush. It's slightly damp. It's not super wet. And I'm going to blend light to dark, and then rinse and blot, and then dark to light. So what this does is, by taking a clean brush and just going over top one more time, it starts to blend the colors, the wet colors that I have on my paper together. If I don't add both colors while they're wet, and I don't use my clean paintbrush to do this blending right immediately when it's wet, it really will not adequately blend together. Okay, so I've got something that looks like this. At this point, I could rinse and blot. I actually want to bring back some of this brown the opposite way. Okay, and you can see how it really has faded it. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. This creates a nice shadow color for our pumpkin. We would do this kind of towards any of those ridges where it comes together toward the bottom, just to add a little bit of depth. So give that a shot. You're going to go ahead and do this twice on your paper just for the extra practice.